about women's cold war. In Japan, it's quite common that mothers-in-law and daughter-in-law are on bad terms with each other. Maybe it's common in the world, in Canada too.
Depends, but sure, it's possible.
Okay, so today I'd like to talk about conflict between my mother as a daughter-in-law and my grandmother-in-law as an in-law. So,
Where's the remote? Try it.
Today's my roadmap. What should they have done? How was it resolved? What I have done. So at first, I'd like to introduce about my family. Until I was 40 years old, we lived together. My grandmother, my grandfather, and my mother, my father, and my older sister, and me, my lovely family. My parents were working couple, so they came back home late every weekday. And my mother and my grandmother are on bad terms, as I told before, like this. Yeah, it's very common. If they live together, so much worse as like my family. and my grandmother always took me to and from kindergarten and took me to the park and did all housework instead of my mother because she was so busy for work. And my grandmother always complained to me about my mother and said, "You are such a sad child. Why doesn't she resign her job to care for you? Your father had job too." She was wondering why my mother couldn't finish work early and came back home. But my mother also was unhappy because my grandmother never complained to her in person, but complained through us children. Hearing complaints about my mother from my grandmother was very stressful for me. Of course, I wanted my mother always stayed home, but I respected her as a business woman, so I didn't care. And one day, when I was 11 years old, suddenly my grandmother fell down in our house and cut off her main veins. She was hospitalized for 1 year, but my mother often went to hospital to see my grandmother because my mother knew where my grandmother needed someone to talk to. And I guess they talked about many things. It seems they developed a close relationship during that time. After that, my grandmother rarely complained about her to me. I thought my grandmother just wanted to talk with my mother like me. So, what they should have done is very simple. It's very simple. My grandmother should have complained her in person. No one like hearing complaints about their life through someone. And my mother should have expressed words of appreciation to my grandmother. It's always very important to express how much you appreciate it. And last one, they should have had time to talk to know each other well. Yeah, it's very simple. How was it resolved? It's very simple too. Just they talked about many things. It was such a bad event that she was hospitalized, but it gave them a good opportunity to improve their relationship. Before that event, they hesitated to tell, complain each other. But after that event, they tell each other everything. So, what I learned from them? I learned from the conflict. It's a natural thing to have complaint to someone, but it's very bad things to complain and say ill through someone. It's better than when I am unhappy and complain someone, I tell the person in person. It's very important to talk to know each other well all the time. First, I must consider if I understood and if I understand the person well or not. On other words, when I notice that person is unhappy at me, I could ask the person what I did wrong. I need to clear up, misunderstand each other. Thank you.